Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, today I'm going to do a story time video about my jobs, my work history. Jobs I've had. Jobs I've liked, jobs I didn't like, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I just got back not too long ago from a new job, which you don't know about. You will at the end of this video. At the end of the video, I'll tell you my brand new job that I'm doing. And that explains the Fred Durst look here with the backwards hat. Hopefully, maybe. So yeah, at the end of the video I'll tell you what my brand new job is and what I think of it so far. But right now I want to go through and talk about all my jobs. Not necessarily in order, because it's not necessarily in order. I did make a list on my phone, just so I don't forget, because I've had jobs where I worked one day. That's on this list. So yeah. So going back to my very first job, I worked at an Eckerd drugstore. That's right. I was, I believe, 16 years old because I think I needed to get working papers from school to get the job. Eckerd drugstore, it was our main drugstore in the town, or at least our commercial, and we had a little mom and pop drugstore, which some people preferred, but this was like in the big strip mall, which everyone went to. There was a ShopRite, grocery store, a bookstore there, a bunch of crap, hair cutters, stuff like that. And then there was Eckerd Drug, and it was, pretty popular. A lot of people shop there all the time. Being 16, didn't want to work. I was lazy, like most 16-year-olds. Not all of them. There's a lot of good ones out there, but I was lazy. Didn't want to go to work, but I did. When I was at work, from an early age, even though I didn't want to be there, I feel like I worked pretty hard. For a 16-year-old kid anyway. I cared about what my boss thought of me. I cared about, customers and stuff. I think I've always been okay with customer relations, Hey, how you doing? How can I help you? Stuff like that, Sometimes in the service industry across the board, or retail, I should say, you could tell when an employee just doesn't care or having a bad day or whatever. It should never reflect at work, It's so hard for so many people, and it really just depends on what kind of job you have, too. But if you're having a bad day in your life, when you go to work, you have to, forget about it. I know it's hard, especially when there's some serious stuff going on at home, but, to be a professional, and I don't care if you're working at McDonald's or on Wall Street, you should be a professional at work, Company or a person, individual, whatever, they're paying you to work, That's at least how I always thought of it. My father was very good at teaching me some life stuff, and that's one of the life things, is when you go to work, forget your whole life, you're there as an employee, you do what they want you to do, you do it well, you work hard, and I appreciate him for teaching me to be a hard worker. But anyway, so yeah, I thought I did a pretty good job there. I remember, that's how I remembered my Social Security number. Before that, I didn't even know my Social Security number, and I remember we had a check-in thing. When you come in for your shift, you had to punch in your code. That was our time thing, our timestamp. And I had to use my Social Security number for clocking in and clocking out, so I had to memorize it. And to this day, that's why I remember my Social Security number, because of that job. Kind of a random factoid, but I think of it sometimes when I have to use my Social Security number for something. But anyway, I worked there with a couple girls that I knew from school. This one girl, which her name will be not in this video, because she was the town hua. If you like your mafia movies, it's a hua. Actually, saying it like that makes me think of Ralphie from Sopranos. But anyway, yeah, she got around, this girl. She was super nice too. Really great personality. She just sold herself short. Speaking of short, she was very short. She was like 4'8", 4'9". She was very heavy set up top, which made her quite popular with the boys at school. And most of the boys at school got a chance to enjoy that. But I got to know a different side of her, because a lot of people didn't. I mean, a lot of the girls didn't like her because she was like that. A lot of the boys did like her because they got a chance to go in the swing, if you know what I mean. But talking to her, on a more personal level, because there was a lot of downtime. When people aren't in the store or whatever, or we're cleaning up, we're not actually ringing people up or stocking or facing or whatever. We'd just be chatting, and she actually turned out to be a really nice girl. I think I asked her once, I'm like, why do you, end up having so many boyfriends? You seem like a really cool chick and down to earth and stuff. And she kind of just admitted that she had poor self-esteem problems and, she had daddy issues as well. I'm not going to go into that, but it's sad to me. I don't know what happened to her. I wonder what she's doing right this second. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that was my first job, Eckerd Drug. I'll tell you, I got a super cool Zippo case from that job. We had a Zippo display, because it is a pharmacy. We sold some tobacco products and stuff, some lighters, and there's a little tabletop display, holds 8 lighters. You've probably seen it. If you watch my channel for a long time, you've probably seen it before. But it was a countertop display, and of course I was super into Zippos back then. I'm still into Zippos now, but like back then I was like, I gotta have this one, I gotta have this one. I was really building on collections and doing the tricks and stuff. And I remember my boss, she told me, she's like, oh, we're getting a new Zippo display in, so take all the lighters out, box them back up, put them in the back in the stock room on shelf B or whatever it was at the time. And she's like, and throw away the case. I was like, I don't want to throw away the case. This is cool. I want this. So I didn't ask her right away, too. I don't know why. I was kind of nervous, like, to ask her for something right to throw out. Because remember, everything that's supposed to be thrown out at a store in retail is written off, usually. Displays, I don't really know how that works, but product, you know, you can't just take it home. It's written off for tax purposes. It's considered destroyed or damaged out or whatever. So maybe like a day went by, and it was in the back room. I didn't throw it in the trash right away. I left it on the shelf in the back room. And then I asked her, I'm like, hey, you know, can I have this? I said, I'm really into collecting Zippos and stuff, and this would be really cool for my collection. And she said, yeah. And it was cool to me because I wouldn't say she was a bad boss. Like, she was good at what she did, but she was grumpy a lot of the time. So, like, I thought it was super cool that she let me do that. I was really not expecting her to say yes. I thought, clear cut, nah, you can't do that. It's against policy. Give me this whole spiel. But she's like, yeah, it's fine. And she said, just don't let anyone see you, and don't make this a habit. Don't ask for, you know, tons of stuff in the future. And I thought that was cool. And to this day, I still have it. I have it in my office, my little Zippo case from Eckerd Drug. But those are pretty much the highlights of my Eckerd Drug days. I remember when it was raining, I used to like. Let me remind you for a second. I'm a 16-year-old boy. Okay, so one of the highlights of working at Eckerd was, because there's a big parking lot there. When it was raining outside, I'd stand by the window and I watched the women run through the rain, you know, with their shirts getting all wet and everything. And there's a few nice moments, but I also saw a lot of not so nice people running in the rain as well. But yeah, 16-year-old boy life. Anyway, what else? Not really much else I could think of from that job. I worked there, I think, for maybe a year and a half, close to 2 years, and then eventually quit. And it wasn't because of anything. My boss wasn't horrible. I didn't have a hard time with the customer. No issues at all, just got lazy. After like a year and a half, I thought, hey, I don't really have to do this. My parents encouraged me to work. I wanted to work because I wanted extra money to buy knives and gear, just like today, you know, no different. Ever since I was a young kid, I always loved buying stuff, man toys, weapons, you know. But anyway, yeah, at some point I just got lazy, and I'm like, I don't have to do this. Why am I doing this? And I think what kind of started that was I was sick one day and I called out, and I think maybe my boss gave me like a little bit of trouble about calling out, and I didn't do it often at all, but I'm like, I'm really sick. And then afterwards I thought like, what do I need this job for, you know? So that was it with Eckerd. So I'm gonna look at my list here and see what's next. Again, not in any particular order, because a lot of these were when I was younger, and I don't remember which one went in order. That's right. All right, so skip past until I was probably, I don't know, 18, 19 years old. I worked at Walmart. For a seasonal position. This was in Franklin, New Jersey, and Eckerd Drug was in West Milford. I don't know if it's still there, but yeah, I lived in West Milford, New Jersey. That's where the Eckerd Drug was, and then we moved to Franklin, and we rented there as a family, still live in a home. And I worked at a Walmart overnight, and it was just for Christmas. I think it was 2 months. It was November, December. I don't remember what year, but like I said, about 18, 19 years old, and I did the night shift. And I would say 80 to 90% of my job was just unloading trucks. And then I did a little bit of stocking. When the trucks were unloaded, I have to go down certain aisles, usually in the sports section and stuff, in the outdoor section, and just make sure everything's, you know, where it's supposed to be. And I was unloading some stuff from the trucks, but predominantly taking crap off the truck. And I'll never forget the Walmart job. The first part was when I had to take my drug test to get the job. I've never been good on peeing on spot, you know. If I go to the doctor's office, he's like, hey, pee in this cup. I'm like, no, I can't, you know. I could sit there with 30 bottles of water. I just can't. I don't know what it is. It's not like I don't have privacy. I have plenty of privacy. You know, you can sit in the bathroom for an hour if you want to. It's just, I don't know, in the moment, I get all locked up, you know. So I had a hard time with that because obviously you can't bring it in from home. You have to pee while you're there with someone, not like in the stall with you, obviously, but someone, you know, close by. So as soon as you fill up your cup, you bring it to them, and that's it. So they know it's coming from you. Makes sense. That's fine. I tried this, I swear to God, 2 or 3 times. Couldn't do it, and I felt bad because the first 2 times I think it was a guy, and the third time it was a woman. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm trying, but I can't. And then it just looks fishy, like I don't want to do it because I'm going to fail the test, which clearly, at that time, I wasn't doing anything that would fail the drug test. So, it seemed fishy at first, and I remember I went home and I drank a bunch, because I lived around the block, renting a house, and it wasn't that far. I went home, and I drank, it must have been 2 gallons of water, and then it hit me like that. And I rushed back to Walmart, and it took me 5-10 minutes to find this particular individual that I had to do this test with. And I said, I'm ready. I got to go now. It's got to happen now. So I got right, ran to the bathroom, did my thing, you know, finally got my drug test done. And I remember my boss at the time, she had told me, she's like, you know, I was kind of iffy. I thought you were, you know, pothead or something like that. You was trying to avoid, you know, the test. And I said, no, I can't pee on demand. It's just, I can't. So that was one thing I remember very vividly from my Walmart job. Also, there was an old woman there. I say old, but she was probably like in her 70s. And man, she was beefy. She'd be taking stuff out of the truck. I'm talking like flat screen TVs and stuff, like nothing. Just grabbing that stuff. I mean, she probably could have benched 500 pounds. This woman, maybe 5'5", you know, as far as how tall she was. Super stocky. But it was crazy because you'd have like a bunch of these 20-something-year-old boys or men, and they're struggling carrying like a case of Snapple, you know, or a box of, you know, whatever, golf balls, who knows. And then this old lady's just like tossing stuff like it's nothing. She put everyone to shame, man. She worked hard. She busted her hump every day that I was there. And she didn't talk. She didn't socialize. She didn't take... she took cigarette breaks, but it wasn't really that often. A lot of people took advantage of their actual, you know, breaks. But no, she was a hard worker, man. And I remember trying to keep up with her thinking, damn, am I out of shape? I can't keep up with this old lady, you know, unloading this truck. But, yeah, the old lady and the drug test, that's about all I remember. I do remember using a couple times when I was stocking the shelves. It was a Spyderco Spidey wrench. Spidey wrench or spider wrench? Maybe a spider wrench. But it was basically 2-piece multi-tool. Some of you guys remember this. I know a lot of you people won't. You'll never heard of this, but Google it. Spyderco spider wrench. And it was 2 different parts. One part was your folding knife. The other part was like, you know, an adjustable wrench. And they kind of went together and slid and locked together or something. Tons of different tools. It was a very cool, interesting multi-tool. If someone still has a spider wrench, I might be interested in trading for that. I kind of missed that. That was super cool. But I remember having that at work because I always use that to open the boxes and stuff. And a couple times I had different employees ask me to borrow it for things. But that's about it for Walmart. Didn't last all that long, so there's no real good stories about that. So moving down the list, RadioShack. Ah, yes, I have a story or two about RadioShack. Same deal. It was the year after Walmart. I did RadioShack. Same thing, seasonal. It was like 2 or 3 months. I think it was a little longer there. Maybe it was 3 months. In October, November, December or something. But just needed help for the holidays. One of those things. And this was around the block, also in Franklin. And now it's sad. I think all RadioShacks are gone, which is weird. I saw 2 different ones recently going out of business sale. I don't know if it's RadioShack across the board. Probably. Or if it's just certain stores. But there's a lot of different companies that are just going under. Kmart and Sears and... Anyway. So RadioShack, yeah. There was a real jerk that was working there. You know, I'm refraining from using choice words. Jerk keeps it family friendly. But he was an Indian kid, and he came off as really nice, but he was pretty screwy. The entire time I worked there, he never taught me how to sell cell phone plans, because at the time that was a big deal. You know, getting a cell phone plan, going to RadioShack for that. It's funny now because everyone has cell phones. But back then, not everyone had them, or they weren't as like a staple now. Like now, it's like, oh, you got a cell phone? Oh, who doesn't, right? But back then, a lot of people didn't. But anyway, you got commissions on selling cell phone plans. And he never told me that, and I didn't know that. So I was just getting minimum wage and showing people to, different resistors and, all the random stuff you get at RadioShack, connectors for their, headphone jack, stuff like that. And I was making diddly squat as far as money. And I remember him bragging one time about his paycheck and it's just being so big, and I'm thinking, we do the same thing. He wasn't a manager or anything. Like, why is he making that much more money than me? And I didn't find out until after the job was over. I didn't quit. I wasn't fired. It was just, I guess you can consider being let go. Same with Walmart. Didn't quit. Wasn't fired. Just kind of, okay, season's over. It's not busy anymore. Thanks for everything. But yeah, he made a lot. He made a killing on the cell phones and never told me anything about it specifically, so I wouldn't make any of that money. And I thought that was pretty jerky, let's say. Also, he was a crook. We had a back room. It was a break room, right? It was almost like backstage at a concert or something. We have the whole Radio Shack. It's like, most Radio Shacks are kind of long and skinny. And then there was literally a curtain. And behind the curtain was a room, probably, 8 by 8 or something. It had storage for different things. But there was a TV in there. And it was technically the break room. This kid would take the DVD recorder. It was VHS tape to DVD. Okay? He would take that. He would go down the block to Blockbuster, another company that doesn't exist anymore, right? Blockbuster's gone. Rent movies from Blockbuster, come in on the clock, being paid by Radio Shack, take a break in the back room, and burn it to disc. So he'd have his tape that he rented, he'd burn a DVD for free. And he did this all the time. Pretty much every time I saw him, he was in the back room, or every shift that I was on working, he'd be in the back room burning a DVD. Like totally bootlegging, totally illegal, and getting paid to do it, because he was sitting at his job. So that I did know about, and I just thought, like, whatever at the time. I'm no rat. I wasn't about to rat him out to the management or anything like that. I didn't really care. Looking back as an adult now, maybe I should have. Little jerk. But yeah, it's just kind of a... Anyway, didn't like him all that much, clearly. Yeah, like I said, he came off nice, but once I started knowing or learning more about him, he just a pretty selfish kid. I don't even want to say guy, because he wasn't. He was very immature, too. But anyway, so that was pretty much the highlight of Radio Shack. Let's see, what's after Radio Shack? These jobs, like I said, I wasn't there all that long, so I don't have a lot of stories. Yeah, probably the longest job I've had was doing the mail. As a lot of you guys know, follow the channel. I worked for a highway contractor for the United States Postal Service. What that means is that my boss had a contract with the Postal Service to transport and deliver mail, and I was their employee. Did that for 10 plus years. I think it was technically 11, maybe 11 and a half years, something like that. Loved it. It was, I wouldn't say it was easy. It was, once you get into a routine, you just knew what was up. You know what I mean? It was repetitive, I'll say that. Every day there's mail, obviously, except for Sunday. So I went and got the mail from the post office sometimes. Sometimes I would actually go transport it back. Other times I would just be sorting it. Sometimes I would have to, go to the local post office and pick up all their outgoing mail and, bring that over. So, it changed a little bit over the years what I was doing, but for the most part it was part-time. You get up early, the butt crack of dawn, you get the mail, you distribute it, for me, most times mail was done by 11, 12 o'clock, sometimes 1 o'clock. So I had most of the day. So when I was doing that job, that was good extra cash on the side. And it was my main job, so to speak, but obviously I was also doing YouTube all the time. That eventually ended. It was, my boss we were very close. We were friends. We saw each other literally every day. Probably for the last, 6 years I was working there. I saw her every day, and her husband. And eventually, we just had a falling out, a big argument, and just because I was friends with her, I couldn't work there, you know what I mean? So, she just didn't want to see me, so I lost that job. I wasn't technically fired, we both mutually agreed I wouldn't be coming anymore. And that was rough on me, financially, obviously, at the time. But hey, it's life. Things happen. Life is all about ups and downs, and you got to survive, right? You got to push through and do what you got to do. But yeah, that was probably the longest job I've had, 11 and a half years. What else? Besides, during that job, at some point I stopped for about 3 months, and I had my own rural route. So, not to get into details, because it's not my business to give this information, but someone I knew couldn't do it anymore, personal reasons, whatever, so I stepped in and I got my own route, and a rural route, which is, just mailbox to mailbox, because what I was doing before was much, much different, and it's so unique I can't even explain it in this video. It's I can make a whole video just on that, because the mail situation that I was doing is literally the only one of its kind on the planet, not even just in America. There's no other mail situation like that. I know that seems vague to say, but without getting into details, it was very unique. Okay, so anyway, the rural route, that was fun. It was different. It was harder, definitely harder work, driving around. That's where I made a couple videos when I was doing that job. But I had a van, the Chevy Venture at that time, and it was a left side drive. And most times, mail carriers will buy dedicated right side drive vehicles so they can do the mail. I didn't, because I didn't have the money. So I did what some people do, which is not legal, but it's accepted. No one stops you from doing it. And like cops sees you, they don't care because you're doing the mail. But anyway, you basically put one side of your butt on the left seat, on the driver's seat, one side of your butt on the other side. So your left cheek's in the driver's seat, your right cheek's in the passenger seat. You're sitting on the center console, and I'm using my left foot for the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and steering with my left hand. So you drive up 15, 20 feet to the next mailbox, right? Put it in park, reach out the right window, put your mail in the box, and then you're off going again. I have to say it was fun. It's extremely dangerous, and like I said, illegal, but it was fun. I like driving like that. It was definitely I don't know, it was challenging to say the least. But yeah, I mean, on that route that I did, the area, there was plenty of, don't get me wrong, there was plenty of really, really nice people, but there was also certain sections where they're just check collectors, you know what I mean, like a whole development of people that just were all on welfare and disability and stuff. They didn't have jobs, they were home all day long. So like when I would pull in, and I think I've talked about this before too, is it was a big hill, this one particular section, and it was like Night of the Living Dead. When they saw the mail was there, they would all be like, coming out of their houses and trailers and stuff, and just like coming all down the hill like a mob, coming to get their checks. But like I said, many people were super nice. It was cool because when you have a route like that, it's a much more personal basis. That's like the average I know my mailman thing. Some people don't care about their mailman. Some people, hey, how you doing, Fred? Oh, how you doing, Nick? Whatever, it's more personal. The other mail thing I was doing, I was behind closed walls. I did do customer service. I did a service window where people got their packages and such, but it wasn't that often, you know what I mean? And when I did it, it was a short period of time. Doing a route like that, you get to know people, a lot of families and stuff. So I made a lot of friends from that. But a hell of a lot of work. A lot of work. And it really beat the crap out of the vehicles. And in Pennsylvania, you use your own personal vehicle. Like for a lot of places, especially in the cities, they have the mail trucks. You see, it's a mail truck, a postal truck. Nope. Out here, they give you a certain amount of money, you agree to do it, and use your own personal vehicle. You go through tires because you're driving in people's ruts and over nails, and it's ridiculous. I'm talking oil changes like once a month. You literally buy tires like every 3-4 months, you just, if you're lucky. It was really rough on the vehicles. But anyway, so I did that. I also had a newspaper route. This was not recently. Now we're going backwards. This is why I say it's not necessarily in order. I just jotted down all my different jobs so I wouldn't forget to mention one. But yeah, the newspaper route was back again when I was in Franklin. And my mother at the time worked at a bank in Jersey, and her coworker was doing a mail route, Christine. Very nice woman. And she was pregnant, so she needed some help. So she kind of asked my mom, hey, is Jeff looking for more work or whatever? Or I can certainly use help on this route. She was crazy in the best way possible. Christine was just such a wonderful, bright person. Her personality was just awesome. And her husband was just amazing guy. Her husband always reminded me of Steve-O. He looked like Steve-O from Jackass and sounded like him. And he was so down to earth, such a cool guy. What a wonderful couple, honestly, and very good friends with the family, and of course my mom, seeing her every day at work. But anyway, she drove like a nut, man, and even pregnant. She had, oh man, I can't remember her car. It was just a little sedan, but she would get air on some of these hills. The development or area that she did her newspaper route was very hilly, and she'd be out there, 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning with all these papers, zipping down these roads. We'd see black bear all the time because they're out because everyone's sleeping still. It's really really late or really really early. Anyway, you look at it because we started about 2 in the morning and worked until about 7 in the morning. So you went to a facility, you grabbed the newspaper, rolled it up, put it in a bag, put it in the stack or whatever, and then she filled her car. I mean, to the brim. Anyway, yeah, she was such a wonderful person. I had a lot of fun with that. But man, she scared the crap out of me driving. And when I first drove, I drove fast. I was a speed demon. I used to always zip around, but man, she scared me. She was like talented. She probably could have drove Formula Racing or something crazy. But that's what I mostly remember about her. Is she's a wonderful person. Her husband's a wonderful person, and she drives like a nutball. But yeah, I did that just for a little while, just to help her out while she was pregnant. Some side cash, which is good. So, next job, janitor. And you guys know this because I posted, I think, 2 videos when I became a janitor, or did janitorial work. And as soon as I posted those 2 videos and getting the job and talking about it a little bit, I got some crap from my boss. Hey, this is personal information, you can't be doing blah, blah, blah. Okay, no problem. And then I never talked about it again on YouTube. But yeah, I did that job for about 6 months or so. And didn't quit. Well, I quit. I wasn't fired or anything. I left because it was interfering with my mail job. I was doing the janitorial work when I was also doing the highway contract mail work. Because the hours were in the morning, I figured, hey, I got the rest of the day. Might as well make some more money, right? Makes sense. I was living on my own at the time and just wanted more money. Actually, I didn't even need the money. I just wanted more money because I wanted to buy more stuff and do more things. Which is a very good, motivating thing to do. Just because you have a job and you can pay all your bills doesn't necessarily mean that's enough. Maybe you want more in life. So you go out and you try to make more money. That's what I did at that time. But at some point, the hours kind of shifted, and it made it harder for me to do the mail thing. And then I was tired because it was overnight, most of the work. But the janitorial job was interesting. I mean, when I did it, it was a lot of office buildings and like rec buildings and stuff like that. I worked my butt off, and the guy who did it before me, because I got the job because the guy quit all of a sudden. His wife had passed away of something. It was very, very tragic, and he just up and left. He never said anything. He just never came back to work. And after like a week, they're like, we got to hire someone. And through the grapevine, because I know so-and-so, and they know so-and-so, and you had the connection, and I was offered the job, and I took it. But it would be late at night. I think sometimes I would start at like 11 at night, work till 5 or 6 in the morning. And then after that job, I would go to do the mail, So that's why I was tired a lot of times, and it got to be a little bit much. But I'd be in these buildings, and honestly, they would give me sometimes 6 or 7 hours to do a certain amount of tasks. It'd be like 4 different buildings, and you go and you empty the garbages, and you scrub the toilets clean. I saw some nasty stuff, man. I used to think a men's bathroom was bad, like men are pigs. Nah. Women's bathrooms are bad. If you are a man, you don't know because you don't use the women's bathroom, or probably don't use the women's bathroom. Women are nasty, man. Some women, not all women. But just bad. And I'm not just talking about like menstrual problems, because I've had that plenty of times where some woman she just throws her dirty pad in the toilet and tries to flush or whatever, which clearly you're not supposed to do. Most women's bathrooms have like a little section for that stuff, to put that stuff in. But not even just that, just like big old dumps, man. You go into a woman's bathroom, it's just like it's like King Kong just dropped one, Just sick. Sometimes it'd be on the seat. I always thought that was just like messed up dudes that did that. I didn't know what women's bathrooms contained until I did janitorial work, and now I know, and I'm afraid to go back. So anyway, the job wasn't that bad. It was a lot of physical work. I didn't mind doing it, but what happened was I fine-tuned this. The guy before me must have been extremely lazy, because they gave me what he was supposed to do in 6 or 7 hours, and at some point, like 2 or 3 weeks in, I got all of my work done in about 2.5 hours. So I had a lot of free time. It'd be like 2 in the morning, and I'd be sitting in one of these buildings, in the complete darkness, sitting in an office chair, because a lot of times they were like conference centers and stuff like that. I'd be sitting in an office chair in this long table, just hanging out on my phone, using the Wi-Fi, you know, because all my work was done. I'm not even talking about like just barely getting by. I'm talking about doing all the work and doing it well. In fact, I got an employee of the month the first month I worked there because I did such a great job. So they allotted this guy. He was just really taking advantage of the company. It did not take nearly as long as he was claiming to do the work. I don't know if he was slow, like super slow, or super lazy. And no one checks on you, so like, technically if I wanted to, I can do my whole job in 2.5 hours and then just go home. You know what I mean? Like, you'd go in your own personal vehicle to this building, you'd pick up their work van. The work van you'd load with cleaning supplies and all that kind of stuff, and then you'd go out do your job. When you're done, it's not like you're even clocking in or checking in. They would just tell you, okay, well, your shift is like 7 hours from Monday through Wednesday, let's say, and I'll do like a 5-hour shift and do this task and whatever. It was totally a trust system. I wasn't clocking in. No one was checking where I was at all, ever. So if I was a jerk and I was irresponsible and selfish and a liar, I could have just done my 2.5 hours of hard work and then just went home and got paid for 7 hours every day. But I didn't. I chose to waste my time sitting in a conference room on the internet. So, yeah. Sometimes I'll be just sitting there looking at porn. I never did anything. I don't know why I even said that out loud. But I promise you, I never acted on looking upon pornography. But sometimes I would, just because looking at naked women would be a time killer, you know? Doesn't mean you have to do anything, just looking. But anyway, because I was respectful. Let me get that very clear. Very respectful in the conference room. Now, most times I was actually watching YouTube videos and looking stuff up, you know, looking at car parts and stuff and car modifications. At that time, I was very much into the idea of throwing a turbo in one of my cars or buying a junk car and trying to fix it up and stuff. That's about the time when I started finding all the different car-related channels on YouTube. You know, I watch a lot of, and some people say like, oh, Jeff, I didn't know you watched the channel. I watch a lot of crap, but these days, most of the videos that I'm watching on YouTube are car-related. You know, some kids messing around with cars or some adults messing around with cars. I find it interesting. But anyway, so yeah, that was the janitorial job. Let's see what's next on the list. Yes, I was a deli cook for one day. Now I'm going back again to Franklin, in between my seasonal jobs in the middle of the summer. There was a guy who had a lot of money, and his son had nothing to do. So he bought his son a deli. That's right, he bought this building, made it a deli, and said, here, kid, here's something to do. And it was a brand new deli that opened up in my area. They were looking for people to hire. I wanted a job. Actually, no, the deli job I didn't want to work. My parents told me, hey, you're getting old, you're still home, what are you doing? Go get a job, you bum. I love my parents, but they might have called me a bum once or twice. And that's okay. I sincerely was a bum. So, yeah, I must have been like, I don't know, 21, 22, sitting home. I took care of my sister for a long time, you know what I mean? But it's not really a good excuse. I need to get my life started. So they said, hey, go get a job already, you know? It's taking you so long. So, yeah, I went out and I said, I'm going to be a cook. And I applied to be the main cook at this deli. No experience at all. I just thought, hey, I like cooking. I can do this. And I was personable with the guy. And he liked me and he hired me. The first day, I did great. I cooked my head off all day. In the beginning of the day, we had construction workers coming in. I remember this one guy came in. He ordered a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich, because we're still in Jersey, and that's what everyone eats in Jersey. Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. Or pork roll, if you don't know what Taylor ham is. Taylor is the brand, Taylor ham, but it's technically pork roll. So if you ever want to try it or order it, it's not called Taylor ham usually. Anyway, you don't really care, do you? If you're in Jersey, you know Taylor ham, egg, and cheese sandwich. Salt and pepper ketchup on a roll. But anyway, this guy came in. He ordered a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on a hero. It was a foot-long hero. He wanted triple the meat. He wanted 6 eggs on it, and he wanted a lot of bacon. He told me tons of bacon. And I made this sandwich like this. This guy must have been, I don't know, 300 or 400 pounds. But like built too. He wasn't like all flab. It was a big, strong dude, you know, construction work. He had his vest on and all that crap. And I kind of laughed. I'm like, is this just for you? He's just like, yeah, I need a snack before work. But anyway. But yeah, I cooked all day. Everything was great. I had no problems at all. It was a hell of a lot of work. I was sweating so much being over the griddle in the back there, and just, I had a long day, right? So at the end of the day, the guy tells me to mop up the floors. Okay, yeah, I'll mop up the floors. And then he's like, all right, don't worry about closing up, whatever. It's your first day. I'll close up today. I'll teach you the ropes tomorrow. Good. Went home. I was very proud of myself. Told my parents, hey, because of course they asked me, hey, how was your first day? I said, yeah, it went great. I like it. They said, you gonna stick with this? You gonna do this? Something you can do? I said, yeah, I can do it. It's just a lot of work. I was sweating all day, but I can do this. I can manage this job. Next day I come in. The guy asked me to see him in his office. Okay, didn't think anything of it. He tells me, and I'm not even kidding, one day working there, he tells me, listen, you did a good job cooking and everything, but I'm going to have to let you go. What? What are you talking about? He said, and like, I was very nice. I wasn't like, what the. I said, what do you mean? I thought everything was good. Why are you getting rid of me? And he says, I have cameras in this place. I purposely didn't tell you because I wanted to see what you're going to do when I wasn't around. And you cooked fine, everything was great. But he said, when I stepped out and I told you to mop the floors, I watched the footage of you mopping the floors. And he said, you were mopping the floors with one hand, all lazy, just one hand. He's like, you can't get the floors clean by doing stuff like that. Are you kidding me? Seriously? That he's literally firing me because I mopped the floors lazily with one arm? I was like dumbfounded. I kind of was a little speechless, and I said, look, I could do it better. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted the job. I wanted to work there. I wanted to make some money. I said, I could do it better. You show me how you want it done. He's like, no. It only takes one time. If you could do it once, you'll do it again. I don't need someone getting lazy mopping the floors. And I think I just got up and walked out. I didn't yell at him. I didn't say anything. I was just like, whoa, all right, well, see you later. And it was a couple weeks later, the whole place got closed down. He got arrested. I believe it was literally for having cameras in the bathroom. Something like, he did something creepy. I forget if it was cameras in the bathroom or maybe he inappropriately talked to a girl. He was a weirdo. You know what I mean? He was a creep. And he got charged and arrested for something weird. And they closed down and they never opened again. And that was the whole backstory with the kid, or I shouldn't say kid, he was probably like 25. But his dad was loaded, he didn't do anything, so he's like, here, do this. I'm going to open this business, you run it, whatever. Didn't know a thing about the deli business, food business, anything like that. But yeah, I remember that making me feel better, hearing that news. My neighbor was actually telling me about it. I'm like, no way. And then my neighbor was saying, like, oh, didn't you work there for like a day? I'm like, yeah, he fired me for mopping with one arm. The guy was weird. But anyway, that was that job. The assisted living home. Now, I do want to make some more dedicated videos on this, but this was also a job that I was doing when I was doing the mail. Again, because of the hours, I would work, in the middle of the day, sometimes third shift. I work, overnight. And I'm not going to get too many details in this video because I do have already Storytime videos on the assisted living home, the old folks home. And I will definitely have more. Like I said, there's really funny stories to tell, really brutally honest stories that should be embarrassing, but I guess at this point I'm not really embarrassed by much anymore, at least on camera. But there's also very, very sad stories, with some of the residents there and stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to share or yet, but the old folks home was very emotional roller coaster. Just like I said, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of funny moments, funny stories, a lot of heartache and sadness, and it's rough. I couldn't do that long term. God bless anyone out there, people who work in hospice, all nurses, all doctors. I have a vast amount of respect for these people to deal with tragedy day in and day out. It takes an emotional hit on you. It takes a special person to be able to just help people. Really, it's amazing. I felt very, very proud of myself when I was doing that because I really was helping people and they really appreciate it. I mean, seriously appreciate it. Like, almost makes me cry thinking about it, honestly, because these people were just so thankful. Like, they realize they can't function as people. I can't go to the bathroom by myself. I can't eat by myself. You're allowing me to live right now, you know what I mean? And like, it was deep. I think I'm too emotional of a person to have that job for a long time. So, and if you don't know, I've talked about it in the past, but they were funded, this whole place was funded by a local hospital, and they cut the funding, so they closed the place down. I actually quit about a week or so before they closed them down, and the reason I quit is because it was just too far. I was only getting maybe $7.50 or $8 an hour at that time, and my gas was like an hour and 20 minutes away each way, so my commuting was costing too much. It didn't make sense for me to keep wasting all that gas and stuff and the wear and tear on the car for what I was getting paid. But you know, even if I did stay, a week later would have been it anyway. But yeah, I'll have some more stories on that place in the future. All right, dog walker. This is a short story. I had a neighbor of a neighbor who knew me, liked me. I used to go over the house sometimes to do some. She was an older woman, not like an old lady, but an older woman, and she was single or divorced or something. And she needed some help around the house sometimes. And she had this black dog, Luke. Wonderful dog, but super hyper, just jumping around all the time. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a collie mix or something. You know, like kind of medium to large sized dog, long hair, long snout. But just would be jumping on you like crazy constantly. And she never took him for walks or anything. And one time I suggested to her, I'm like, you know, because she'd always be like, Luke, stop jumping around. Why are you so crazy? I'm like, I think maybe he just wants to go for a walk. And I took him for a walk. And he took a liking to me, and I liked him, and it was good exercise at the time. That's when I was losing all the weight. I said, hey, I need a good excuse for another walk. And yeah, started just taking him for a walk, and then she started paying me $5 a walk. I'm counting that as a job, because I got paid for that. But there's no good stories, other than I like Luke, and Luke liked me. It was cool. We had a cool relationship. He used to bark at everyone, except for me. So I thought that was nice. But anyway, and I think I've talked about this before when I used to drive my other neighbor, totally different road, the other direction. The old woman who, she was a huge pain in the butt, man. I'm pretty sure I did a Storytime video on her, but basically my dad answered an ad, a local ad to do something nice. His woman needed a ride places. She didn't drive, blah, blah, blah. So my dad did it for a while, and he realized it's too much. He didn't want to say no, so he said, hey, you know, I can't do this anymore, but if you pay my kid a couple bucks, he'll help you out. And then I got into doing it. I'm talking about for like a year, longer than a year. And then I just bent over backward for this woman for like almost no money. I wasn't really doing it for the money in the beginning, but at some point I'm just like, yeah, I'm only staying because of the money. And it wasn't much. It was seriously like $5 or $10 a trip to the store, but she'd have me going all over the place. Anyway, long story short, she left a message on the phone. She was really demanding and just not appreciative at all. Just a grouchy woman. But she called the house or something, and I thought my dad was on the phone with her and thought we hung up or whatever, and then we're like talking mad smack about this woman. And it was on her answer machine. Oh, Lord. So yeah, I got the call back like, I am shocked of what you said about me. And then that ended our relationship. But you know what? That was a blessing in disguise, because good Lord, I could not deal with that woman anymore. And you guys know I'm a nice guy, you know? Year and a half dealing with someone. So yeah, that's YouTube. Yes, right now, I'm at work. Most of you know, YouTube is a job for me. So simple. It's been a job since 2008. Still continues to be a job, but obviously not enough. So that leads me to my last job and my current job. The reason I'm wearing this hat is I recently started running a hot dog cart with a buddy of mine. I should say this. A buddy of mine invested in a hot dog cart business, and I'm his employee. Before he got into it, he said, hey, look, I'm going to be doing this thing. Are you in? You know, I'll pay you. And, you know, I need someone I can rely on, someone I can trust. And he trusts both me and Christina, my wife. And she got in on it too. I'm going to be working a lot more than she will, just because of her other job and hours. And if you're wondering what my wife does, she works in retail. Just to say, because I know people are going to ask. You know, that's all I can really say. I'm not getting too many details. She works retail. But yeah, I can use the money. It's a job. Eventually, when she gets her license, I'm going to get out and I want to do another 9 to 5. You know, got to bring in the money. Don't mind working hard. Just have to find my niche. You know, see what's going to be good for us. But yeah, for the summertime, for the seasonal position, I am working a hot dog cart, and I have to wear a hat for food safety. Technically, I should be wearing a beard net don't know if you ever seen people at the grocery store with a beard net, but the health inspector for the area, it's not going to bust chops about beard nets, but she is about hats. So that's why I've been rocking this Fred Durst looking thing, because I've been wearing a red shirt for the hot dog cart with a gray hat, and backwards because it's more comfortable. But yeah, actually this is the first hat I bought. This is my second day on the job. Got this hat. This is $1. $1, make 'em holla. And I liked it because it was red, hot dogs, right? It says USA, which is cool. This is like for Memorial Day. But this has the weirdest cut. It doesn't feel like it's on my head right now. Maybe it looks okay to you, but it feels weird. If you wear hats, you'll know that like some hats just, they don't work. They don't fit you. This does not fit me in any way. But I bought a cheap button to put it on there. Again, America. And yeah, I wore this the first day, but I gotta ditch it. So I'm moving on up to a $5 hat, which is sterile. And I like that it's fitted. And I don't know why, but it reminds me of Kevin James. But anyway. So yeah, I'm doing a hot dog cart. It's a food cart. Right now we're doing hot dogs, chili cheese dogs, plethora of drinks. We're selling some different merchandise. Right now we're stationed by a pool, so we're selling like goggles and selfie sticks and like hats and glasses and stuff like that. Popular item menu. Said that backwards. A popular thing right now so far has been we're selling walk-in hot dogs and walk-in tacos. Walk-in taco is just like a Frito pie, if you ever heard of that. Basically, it's just a bag of Fritos, or we do Doritos as well. And you open up the bag, you throw in a big old lump of hot chili, big old lump of melted cheddar cheese, not cheddar cheese, but nacho cheese, which is probably not even cheese, to be honest. And that's it. Stick a fork in it, and people go out and they eat their little diaper-filled bag of deliciousness to them. Back in the day, that sounds good to me, but these days, it's kind of a blessing because I am doing the diet thing. I know some people may think, oh, Jesus, Jeff's working on a hot dog cart. He's going to get fat again. No, actually, I have no cravings. Working with food and smelling it all day, like in the beginning of the day, it smells good. Half an hour in, it disgusts me. Not because it's disgusting food, but just because when I'm not hungry, I don't want to smell that food, so I'm not tempted to have a chili cheese dog at any point during the day, which is good for profits as well. But yeah, the walking taco, walking hot dog, very similar thing. Instead of putting it on a bun, for people who are all about the no carbs, just chop it up, have a little paper boat, throw some chili cheese on it, walking hot dog. So yeah, those have been pretty popular. People like it. It's a totally different area that I've never been in before. People seem nice. And eventually we'll do all kinds of stuff, go to car shows, go to different events. But it's a learning curve right now. He's brand new to the business. I'm brand new to it all. My wife and I went and got ServSafe certified. We actually took a advanced manager's course, so I am officially certified to be a food manager somewhere, which is nice. Maybe something to fall back on, although I don't like working with food. But you do what you got to do, right? I'll tell you though, once I took this ServSafe course, we got a big old book. We had to study and read, took a pretty intense test, which I passed, gladly. But once you learn about food safety, you don't want to eat out anywhere. Forget a buffet. Forget it. I'll probably never eat at a buffet ever again. Just learning about time temperature abuse on food and bacteria and jaundice and oh god, there's so much. It's like if you've ever taken this course, if you've ever taken a course like this, post down in the comments what you took it for, if you had to work at a restaurant or something or whatever. But yeah, once you really learn about what goes on, nasty. Damn, the battery died. I must be talking too much. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know as the public. I got insider information taking this course and exam and talking to the instructor, and he was saying like, every month or so you'll hear about some kind of food recall. Oh, don't buy Cheerios because there's glass in it, or metal bits, or hey, don't get the bagged broccoli this month because there's a recall on people having problems with E. coli. They only do those public recalls when there's more than 3 people who have the same symptoms and the same illness from the same food. That's considered a foodborne outbreak. However, there's something like 300 to 400 food recalls a week. Can you imagine? That's like what the industry knows about. The public doesn't know crap. there's a lot of bad stuff happening all the time, and it's pretty much acceptable. So yeah, taking a food safety course, especially an intense one like this, a management course, it scares you from eating out anymore. Really, you just don't want to get sick. God, and people die from it. People die from foodborne illnesses all the time. But anyway, you don't really care about that, so no need to continue talking about that. But I did get officially certified, so I'm you know, an official manager for the food cart. So when the guy, my buddy, when he's not there, he needs someone there, you know, for the state regulations and such. So I'm the go-to guy. So it'll probably take up a lot of my time this summer, but you know, I'm out to make the cheddar. Got to pay the bills, you know. And then eventually, in the winter comes, I'll get, you know, something stable, something like I said, 9 to 5. It stinks. Pennsylvania minimum wage is $7.25, I think, and most local jobs just walk in, hey, you're hired, kind of things, are minimum wage. Not only that, but they won't even give you full time, you know, because they don't want to give you any kind of benefits. They don't want to give you health care or dental or any of that crap. So a little rough, but hey, that's life. Like I said, ups and downs. So that pretty much concludes the video. I have no idea how long this is. I feel like it's long, but that's my work history. I've come and gone a lot of places. I've had a lot of different experiences, and I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg. I have a lot of life left, hopefully, and I'm sure I have a lot more jobs. I remember in high school, my science teacher had told the class once that he said one person in this class will probably go on to have a career. The rest of you will have a series of jobs until you die. I know, great guy, right? Real optimistic. But it's interesting that he said that, and I would say that's probably true. Very few people have a career. A lot of people have a job, or multiple jobs that they do. But yeah, there you go. So if you're curious, hey, I wonder what Jeff's done in his life as far as work. Now you know, to almost every detail. And like I said, I'll have more Storytime videos on maybe some of these jobs if it, you know, my memory gets jostled. But just doing the hot dog cart today, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, you know, I've had a bunch of different jobs. I'm like, you know, I should make a Storytime video talking about my jobs and some of the different stories. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my job history. Like I said, I'll have plenty more in the future. Quick shout out to Vic. My very first day doing the hot dog cart, there was a maintenance guy. His name was Vic, I believe. And he was doing some maintenance in the area that I was at. And he said, "Cutlerylover?" And I said, "Yeah." So I thought that was cool. So shout out to Vic if you're watching this video, man. Thanks for saying hi. Anyone out there, if you see me somewhere and you know who I am, say hi. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be nervous. Don't think you're wasting my time. I've had so many people tell me that. Hey man, I saw you here, I saw you there, but I didn't want to bother you. Trust me, bother me. I like meeting you guys. I really, really do. It's always special to me. So yeah, very cool of Vic to say hey. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you happen to see a hot dog vendor with the backwards gray cap, take a second look. Might just be me. Till next time, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. In the comment section down below, I'd like you to tell me one of the jobs you've had. Could be the worst job you ever had, the job you hated the most. Could be the dirtiest job, like Mike Rowe type stuff. Remember Dirty Jobs? I used to love that show. Anyway, yeah, tell me your favorite job. You know what? Just tell me your current job. I'd love to know what my viewership does for a living. Obviously, there's a lot of you know, younger kids. What is that? I see something moving around. Is there a bug behind me or something? Am I getting mosquito bitten? Anyway, I don't know what that was. I don't even know if you see it in the video. You might be thinking I'm going crazy, but I saw something moving around. Anyway, it's not there anymore. Tell me what you currently do. I'd love to know who watches my videos. Are there any doctors out there who watches my videos? Nurses? You know, mechanics? I'm sure there's lots of mechanics. I know that because when I do car videos, they'll always chime in, which is cool. I appreciate that. Quite a big deal to me to get honest opinions from mechanics with experience. It's definitely helped me before. You know, teachers, let me know what you do. Any sports players? You know, any professional athletes watch my videos? Just curious. So anyway, I forgot. I just realized now that I got a text like 20 minutes ago, so I got to go see who that was, see what they want. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.